Lyra has, whereas for Graves, you really need to grind to your level 6. But it's not all that difficult now with the increased experience that you get in the jungle anyways. But of course, for the side of 501st Legion, with that Lyra pickup, they should probably think of banning out the Idris, if not then probably Tarka if they want to play that Sky. But Idris is quite a threat to Sky as well, if that is one of the picks. So they have quite a few possibilities to go for in terms of ban, but you know, they can go quite easy. They can just remove that Tarka or Idris and just allow Infamous to ban another thing, and because for them it will be the next pick, so they can pick up the Idris or Tarka for themselves.
Yeah, I think this pick has to be Idris or Taka, and generally you don't want to pick Taka first on or second pick on B side, so they should pick Idris now, because if not, if they go for the Scarf, which is clearly what they wanted with the Black Feather ban, with the Black Feather ban you want to pick either Celeste or Scarf, so they're going to go Kestrel. That's all right against Idris, but if I was Infamous, I'd just pick Idris Taka now and just do exactly the same comp, because it didn't work last time for 501st Legion, and it would be hard for it to work again. They'd have to go something like Alpha, which is very out of the meta, to try and counter it. I mean, they could go for some other comfort picks. Maybe they go for Sky themselves up against this Kestrel to try and dodge those glimmer shots. What do you think, Luxury? I still think Idris Taka would just be why not pick it if it worked last time?
Yeah, I mean, they can easily just settle for the Idris Taka, like you say. If not, then Glaive. Glaive is one of those picks that I think worked very well going up against Kestrel, only because if you're placing the Kestrel in lane, you can single her out in the very early game and try to deprive, you know, as much farm from Kestrel as much as possible. And I personally think that Spaghetti plays a rather mean Glaive, but, you know, there is nothing wrong falling back onto a team comp that you were very, very comfortable with and you won from the last game, especially going up against Kestrel. They will settle for that Glaive, and with the last pickup, Scarf is still available, Scarf is still open. They can settle for that Scarf. Scarf will be a great pickup, in fact. If not, then...
Do you think it should be Scarf by any chance? Do you think they should pick Scarf, Luxury? I think obviously with Celeste out of the picture, it would make a lot of sense. And yeah, they are. But draft was quickly paused because they picked with 0 seconds of bonus time left. So that's a bit of a... the draft client doesn't like that. So we'll just quickly... hopefully you can just restart the last pick and then we'll be into that. I think against this Scarf Glaive, Taka could work, but I think it would make much more sense for to go for their own poke. So the Samuel would be really good. So with a Weapon Kestrel and a CP Samuel, then you have double poke against their single poke. As long as you block the Glaive Afterburn, he becomes kind of useless. Whereas if you go for a dive hero, then Glaive can Afterburn you away, and Scarf will be able to outpoke Kestrel. So it's risky. They could go either way.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of open choices for that of 501st as well. Let's all be honest. That you can settle for Samuel to just try to outpoke the Scarf in the early game. If not, then go for Tarka. But I personally don't think that Tarka is a reliable check into that of Scarf, because you are generally going to move in a certain direction, in which Scarf enjoys you to move in a certain direction because he can just burn you down anyways. So if not, then it's quite weird for me to say this. It will be quite weird for me to say this. But 501st, they can probably settle for a Baptiste. I know. But Baptiste can apply a lot of pressure in that of lane to try to counter the pressure coming up from Glaive, possibly coming up from Glaive in the early game going up against Kestrel.
Yeah, I think Baptiste could work. Obviously, Crystal Power Baptiste did get nerfed in 2.8 as Crystal Power ratio reduced. Weapon Power ratio got increased from 25% to 35%.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of Weapon Baptiste that's ever been played, and I didn't quite catch what that final pick was, but just the draft clerk's having a bit of issues. So did you catch what that was, Luxuria?
No, I did not catch what that was, but we will just continue talking about what would be the possible final pickup. A Black Feather would do fine. I don't think Black Feather has been banned out.
They banned Black Feather themselves, second ban. That's the thing. Black Feather, okay, I agree with fantastic against the Scarf, but they decided to ban it themselves, so they can't play that CP Black Feather. And I think obviously with a healer, Ozo would have worked well, because even though you're up against Glaive, Grace isn't really good at getting Ozo out of his Acrobats, and if Glaive wastes Afterburn, just to get Ozo out of Aqua Bounce, then that's a positive for you.
Yeah,
but I think that's definitely I know we've talked about it a lot, but teams don't seem to like Ozo. But given how important Sustain is now, those Carney Luck perk just makes him all the better. But the Healing Flask could be really effective on Ozo.
Definitely. So Ozo is one of those pickups that is rarely seen, but when you see them in your ranked games, you would kind of shiver a little in your boots. Right? You go like, oh dear, Ozo.
Yeah, if someone plays Ozo, they're probably very good at playing Ozo.
There you go.
So you should be scared.
There you go. So I mean, I personally think that Ozo is a decent pickup, especially going up against majors. If not, then Glaive itself, because of how mobile you are getting into the back lines, if you can aggro bounce properly. And with the amount of sustain that you actually have, Cassandra will settle for a Cruel.
Okay, I did not expect a Cruel to be picked. That's very that's odd, because now they're going double weapon. It does work. Cruel could go Tension Bow Bonesaw, and that would really help out Kestrel to get more damage, even though Kestrel generally doesn't need that. I don't think they should go Tension Bow Aftershock Cruel. I don't think On Hit or Crystal Power would work really well. I think just go with your double weapon. Scarf wants to build a reflex block further from Hell's Heart, and doesn't want to build weapon power defense. Glaive is going to get an Atlas and maybe even a Metal Jacket as well, but that's okay. You just focus on the Scarf, execute her, and I think Fire First Legion could work well with this comp. It's just slightly different to what we were expecting.
Well, definitely, but I'm not sure. I have got this feeling that Revenger X will run CP for some odd reason. For the oddest reason ever. I personally am not sure. Okay, he's going to go for the weapon build on that of Castro, but at the back of my head, I'm just constantly thinking that Revenger X will be going for that CP build. But honestly, thinking about how the draft ended up being, I must say, Infamous just did a much better job overall as drafters as compared to that of 501st.
Yeah, 501st going to go in. They did leave themselves in a bit of a tricky position at the last pick of this game, because there weren't that many heroes. They banned away some of them, and this will probably be secured going by Cruel. No, Shingy gets it with the afterburn. Will that be enough? Cassandra's doing a lot of damage. Where's the Spectre Smite? Not quite going to pick up Shingy. So low. Protector contract being thrown out by Tezaboy to try and do some work. Cassandra's going low. One more basic attack. Fan the flame. Scarf picks up the first blood. Shingy's on the back line. Will he go onto Avenger X? 5 seconds for afterburn. Grace is going to go in. Who's going to get the kill? It should be Shingy. Right now, there's the afterburn onto Lyra, and it's going to be a triple kill for Infamous. What a start. 1k gold lead, 1 minute, 10 seconds in.
Wow, what a start indeed. Infamous definitely just putting out their feet and saying, you do not come to our Treant, else, you know.
This is my Elder Treant.
Yeah, exactly. Revenger X, or rather the comp coming out from the entirety of 501st, you would think that they just do so much better in that early game because of the amount of poke and how sustaining Cruel is in that early game, and the amount of damage the Smite can provide, or rather dish out, surprisingly at the time. But, you know, Chingy and Spaghetti and Tezaboy itself, on top of that, the Protector contract, and they just played so well against those items that's going for them, and thus they won that team fight out. A very clean one, in fact.
Yeah, there's going to be another afterburn to Avenger X, 2 in a row for Shingy. I think he's got like an 8% crit chance and just got lucky after the Twisted Stroke, so that's an easy kill. Spaghetti cannot help Tezaboy because that minion wave was massive. We had to use 2 goops to try and clear the wave, but very effectively farming actually. Revenger X is on 5 CS and Spaghetti's on 17. That's not very good for your Kestrel. For Weapon Kestrel, you need items, you need damage. And he's just been unable to. He was killed in the jungle, killed in the lane, and Spaghetti with 2 goops just secured so much CS.
Yep, and that was one thing that I was telling my mates about. It's that as for a weapon Castro or any Castros in general, you always want to try to be in the upper hand. Whenever you fall back in terms of CS, if not then lead, what happens then is that enemies can easily just take advantage and capitalize on your weakness as a Castro, and that is, if you're a weapon Castro, you don't have enough weapon power to just go invis immediately. If you're a Crystal Castro, then you are easily countered by soft vision, and the fact that you cannot go invisible immediately. So that is one thing of Castro that teams just have to realize is that you have to put pressure in that early game. You want to go out there, win team fights, push objectives, and try to just snowball from the start. Very much like that of Koshka.
Yeah, Kestrel is very similar to Koshka, except for the fact that she doesn't fall off in late game. Whereas Koshka falls off, whereas Kestrel is really good. If you get an early game advantage, you're likely to win the game, but for a very different reason to Koshka. With Koshka, if you get an early game advantage, you snowball and win the game. Yeah. Whereas with Kestrel, if you get an early game advantage, you get items. Late game, you will win the game. And I think there'll be an awful lot of ganking this Revenger X's Kestrel when there isn't enough weapon power to go instantly invisible, because the current Kestrel build is Solar Blade, Tyrant's Monocle, and you need to complete a full Solar Blade and a full Tyrant's Monocle before you can go instantly invisible. A heavy steel would be enough after Solar Blade, but no one builds Breaking Point on Kestrel, so that's not worth it. Cassandra, Afterburn, into the Holy Nova, great combo from Infamous, and that could be a lot of damage onto that tier 1 turret. Spaghetti wants to push this wave up. There's no minion candy from Excel to try and stop it. Vendrex is going to try and clear the wave as quick as he can. May lose a couple of CS and may even lose the turret. There's going to be a Tezaboy tanking in. That's not a good afterburn combination, but it doesn't matter. Infamous still going to get the tier 1 turret, and they're 4k gold ahead, Luxuria, already.
Well, that is definitely Infamous just showing who is boss in this current game. Cassandra may be looking for more.
Yeah, Cassandra could be out of position, going to try and deal away that Treant with the tension proc. Not quite enough. And this is a real big problem with weapon power, double weapon power comps, is when you get behind, Xingyi doesn't even have to build that much against you. He gets a metal jacket, which isn't that expensive, especially when you're ahead. Yeah. And then Xingyi just counters both of the heroes. He can go in, will deal massive damage because he's got a Solar Blade, and won't take any because they're both weapon power. Avenger X still hasn't got a completed Solar Blade. The Tension Bow won't even do that much, and Xingyi's actually going to get an infusion. There was a level 5 infusion popped on Spaghetti. Xingyi with 700 gold. Yep, also going to get one. So I expect Infamous to go for a tier 2 turret or a Sentry or a Goldman.
There you go, Infamous. All 3 members in lane. Cassandra once again being very...
Yep, Cassandra trying to hide in the top bush. Excel actually baited, unless it's from Hell's Heart. It's going to connect, but still point blank range. That's basically Avenger X's energy. Can barely even afford to Glimmer Shot, and they're effective, but there isn't a minion wave to help them push this turret. Avenger X is so far back, he's not even going near, and that goop, I don't think it's on the turret. No, it's not, so that goop is not doing any damage to turret, but there's an afterburn. 300 crit, 300 crit, 300 crit from Xingyi. So much work, but he is going to get shut down by the Lyra. Captain securing the kills, OP, and that is the first kill for 501st Legion. Cassandra is going to try and catch out Spaghetti. Spaghetti out of energy. Will it matter? Looks like Cassandra is going to fall. Yes, he will. To the Holy Nova. One shot, one miss by Kestrel XL. Can he run away? Not got an Imperial Sigil, so that will be another kill. 5-0, unbeatable for Spaghetti, and I think that infusion was worth it. Wait a minute. Revenger X, what are you doing? Possibly lagging. But no, he's just going to run away. And somehow he's actually managing to run quite far. Tezaboy wants to do the plays. He's going to stand on the scout trap, and Revenger X is going to fall to Tezaboy. Meanwhile, Spaghetti going very low to Cassandra. That's a shutdown for Cassandra, and luckily for 501st Legion, they do manage to get a kill, and Xingyi just Bloodsong. I've had enough of you, Kestrel. Let's go get a gold, man.
Yeah, I'm not sure what is happening then for 501st Legion. If not, then Revenger X at least on that Castro. But it was quite a funny moment. Xingyi overstayed his welcome, definitely. We are going into a pause, so just a quick information for the viewers out there. We are heading into the pause. One game, or rather per match, we are allowed 2 minutes pause per team, a total of 4 minutes, and it's just to allow the players to sort out their technical issues, if not then issues with their connectivity. But we are unpausing at this point in time, so...
Yeah, hopefully Revenger X is going to sort out the problems. We really want to have a proper game. You don't want to do a 2v3. It is not looking great, and Xingyi burn over the wall. It's not looking... It's not looking good for 501st Legion, but they still can turn it around. Weapon Kestrel, one of those heroes where if it's not focused, then you can just snowball, and if Kestrel isn't focused, then you can do tons of damage and possibly get some kills because they got lovely shutdowns. There is a 7k gold lead 8 minutes in, which is nothing to scoff at. But I think 5FS Legion need to hope that Infamous get over aggressive, get over cocky, try and go too much, try and dive under turrets and dive under sentries, and then they still could turn this around and make it close.
Yeah, I mean that is possible if Infamous just overstep the boundaries, just get overly complacent, then maybe 501st Legion would stand a chance. But like you said, 7,000 gold lead, 8 minutes in, just do not look very well for the side of 501st at this point in time. However, they have got a Lyra, they have got Cruel, and of course, if the Cruel just tanks up at this point in time, soak up as much damage, and they just rely on XL7 on that Lyra to provide a lot of sustain in terms of the Imperial Sigil, and of course, very timely bright bulwarks, they might be able to turn fights around as long as Revenger X is safely nested behind Cassandra and XL7 on that of Lyra. But however, we cannot quite discount the fact that on the side of Infamous, we have Chingy, a glaive that can just go into the back lines, ignore whatever you have at front, and try to burst you down as soon as he lays eyes on you.
Yeah, we did see an awful lot of damage from Xingyi with those crits, and I think it's definitely going to be interesting how Glaive is going to use those afterburns, whether it's going to be defensive Cruel to try and get Cruel off of Scarf, or if he's just going to go, yeah, you'll be fine, Spaghetti, I'm just going to go and kill Kestrel. Give me a second while I execute this Kestrel. And to be fair, once Revenger X gets enough weapon power to go instantly invisible, if there isn't a flare from Tetherboy onto Kestrel, then Kestrel will easily be able to kite Glaive. It's just a Glaive afterburns Kestrel, even if he doesn't block it, goes invisible after the afterburn, you go invisible. That's definitely the way to say it. And then if there's no flare, you can just kite around, get a stun, get a couple of glimmers, get another active camo trap down. And if Glaive has gone for that decision and then not peeled for Scarf, that's left for Tetherboy to try and do. Cassandra has to block one stun, one Holy Nova, and then he'll be able to stick on top of Spaghetti. So there is a way which 501st Legion can win this, and hopefully Revenger X has sorted out his connection issues, but I'm sure we'll find out soon. Spaghetti and Chingy just rotating through the jungle wave.
Yep, Revenger X does not seem to be coming back, so we will have to resume the game. We cannot quite hold the game on for more than 2 minutes per se. And I mean, for all the viewers out there, we all know it's not fun watching a 2v3, but all in all, it is part of the terms and conditions, and it's allowed in the rules. There you go.
Here we Cassandra get afterburned, and that is tons of damage from Xingyi. It looks like yeah. Okay, let's game under 10 minutes. That I think that is the question for them. Can do a lot of damage onto this turret, and that will fall. Cassandra is back up from House Arts available, and he's going to go in onto Xingyi. There's the ultimate onto Spaghetti. Actually, Xingyi's going quite low, and it looks like Infamous, they're not messing about, and that is game 2. 9 minutes 10 seconds. The Vein Crystal explodes. Well played by Infamous. They just showed everybody how to snowball, and they really are showing that they are one of the top teams once again this split.
I must say there is only one word for this game, and it will be cute.
I suppose you could say that.
Okay, all in all, I must say the draft-wise, Infamous came out on top, forcing that of 501st to go